It's starting. Okay, we're streaming. Ken, could you give us the overview? What has happened since last time we spoke?
Yeah, absolutely. We're still moving very slow with Hurricane Florence, not moving very fast at all. Really, the eye was almost stationary for a while and then finally moving inland very slowly. But really what the impact of that is not only just around the center, but what happens is you start keeping these rain bands in the same area for long periods of time. If you notice, most of those stay in between those lines, which means repetitive rain and repetitive chances for some of the threat of tornadoes as well. So we are seeing the slow movement as predicted, and that's going to cause more problems associated with the water and the rainfall event being extreme.
And which areas are getting the sort of the brunt of the storm right now?
Yeah, right now you can see, of course, right around the center where you start seeing those winds that are prolonged. I mean, it's not, since it's moving so slow, it's not just necessarily about the wind speed, it's the length of time that you have those winds, and that could be particularly damaging. But in these rain bands, I mean, those are intense rainfall amounts that we're seeing. Some places that we're starting to report getting a foot of rain already, and also the storm surges continue to be an issue because, once you start pushing that water in, it's very slow to drain. You start pushing the water far inland because of the long-lasting winds, and as a result, you start seeing that water pile up, and now we still have the rainfall to drain as well.
And so far, what has been the largest storm surge we've seen so far?
Yeah, a lot of it's really in here. Let me go ahead and zoom in there because it really looks like, this forecast of 7 to 11 feet, and it looks pretty far inland. So when you really zoom in, what happens to this storm surge is it really starts to channel up some of these rivers. And when it pushes in, you look at, the Neuse River, you look at the Pamlico River through the Sound. Once you start narrowing that channel, it starts piling up. So around New Bern, around, just south of Greenville, you start getting those pileups of that water. So those are the areas that we're always concerned with in situations like that. So not just there, but anywhere that water can filter in and pile up, and you still have the rain to drain. And with high tide coming up, it's going to be slow for that water to exit.
And I just heard you talking about flash flooding. What exactly is happening? What area specifically, and what's causing that?
Yeah, you really look at it going back to the radar. I mean, look how long this rainfall has lasted, almost all morning. So if you really draw that channel between all those showers, so it may look like all this rain is moving fast, but if you add that up over hours and hours, it really is the same area as getting that rainfall. And as a result, definitely dangerous flash flooding. And notice that could be significantly away from the center. So not necessarily a good idea to really concentrate on that center, but you got to look far away. And even these individual cells that we're seeing in here, there's rotation in them on radar, so that could be a particular danger when it comes to tornadoes.
And folks inland, more in the western part of the state, are they seeing rain right now? What are they seeing currently?
Yeah, that's a big problem about this situation is this is going to be a long-lasting event. We covered the storm surge, but look at the rainfall. So just because it's not happening now doesn't mean it's not going to happen later because the track is so slow. So we're looking at places like Asheville being right at the edge where you could see 4 to 6 inches of rain. Even Charlotte, 10 to 15. That's a large amount of water. Up in Raleigh to approaching Roanoke, 6 to 10 inches of rain. So those are places of particular concern because the system's moving so slowly that you can see some of that flash flooding. And you add in the terrain, you add in rivers, and you add in the hills, you start seeing the flash flooding. And even when the system finally, we get Florence out of here, you're going to have long-lasting areas where the river flooding could last for a week.
And those folks in those areas that are getting a lot of rain right now, how much longer is it supposed to last?
Yeah, look at this forecast. I mean, it's not forecast to get out of here anytime soon. So, we're going to definitely go into the weekend with this, unfortunately. So Saturday morning, even though the winds could be coming down by the time we get into Saturday, still tropical storm force. But look, we're not moving very far. This is Saturday evening, this is Sunday morning, and this is by Monday morning. That's not a lot of geography at first. There's no real steering currents leading into the weekend. And finally, we have another system coming from the north that'll finally pull Florence out of here, but in the meantime, back behind it, lots of flooding, river flooding that's going to last for a while.
All right, anything else you want to say? What's the most remarkable thing about this storm?
Every one of them are different. I've been saying for this entire week is how every one of these are so different, and this is another case. It's just you see different things in each one of these storms, and once again, we go back to not concentrating on that category. It really is about the impacts, and we spend a lot of time coming up with those impacts.